Hello, you guys, it's Day Day, and I'm back for a Real Housewives of Auckland Season 1, Episode 3 review. We start off with Anne, and she's at her house with her husband, and she's cutting pieces of chicken and divvying it out to the family. And I guess, even though she has this, this cat sanctuary, I guess she has her own personal cat named Champagne. And she's giving the cat a leg, which is her husband's favorite. And it was kind of funny hearing Anne's husband Richard call her out about coming second to the cat lots of time. And Anne found that amusing as well. So Anne invited Michelle to go out to the cat sanctuary and I guess help her out with some things. And Michelle had absolutely no idea why she was going. And I found myself wondering exactly why Anne decided to, get Michelle of all people to help her with her cat sanctuary because Michelle is a well-known animal phobic, has no affinity to animals at all. So for her to choose Michelle out of all the ladies like Gilda and Louise, who are known animal lovers, I find that to be really strange. And maybe she just wanted to poke fun and get a little rise out of Michelle, which she admitted that she did get, some kind of amusement out of seeing Michelle uncomfortable in the cat sanctuary. But she tells Michelle to help her with the cat food, and Michelle has on these gorgeous heels, and she's stepping in the grass, and I'm just like, I would not have done that. If Anne would have asked me to do it, I would be like, no, I'm not dressed to do it, and I don't like cats. I'm not going to do it. But Michelle, she played she was a team sport about it, and she went ahead and did it. So after they do that, they go up to Anne's house, and they're in Anne's room, and Anne brings out these gorgeous mink coats, which are made from real fur, which is really surprising considering that Anne is such an animal lover and an animal activist, and you can tell that Michelle is absolutely in love with these mink coats, but she's not going to be getting any of them anytime soon because they're so damn expensive. I think that Anne said that she paid for one of them, the white one that Michelle really loved, 8,000, and that was 20 years ago. So they'll be at least worth at least 10,000, if not more. So Michelle seemed pretty let down about that. And she also asked Michelle to be a model for her cat charity or cat fashion show or whatever, and Michelle agrees. Um, it's for a good cause. Um, Julia invites Anne and Louise to go get this vampire treatment done. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's just like, they take some of your blood out and I guess they put it in, insert place where you want some work done and then they massage it over. And this goes back to what I've been saying about Julia being very conceited and very vain and always wondering about how she looks and how she can look younger or whatever. And I'm like, okay, Julia. So she's doing the treatment, and Anne and Louise, rightfully so, decide to call Julia out for being really messy and kind of throwing them under the bus. Especially Anne, because I felt like Anne really was goaded into saying that Gilda was a gold digger by Julia. Julia was kind of hitting around, waiting for Anne to say something, and when Anne finally said it, then Julia wants to act like Anne just said it on her own and didn't, include the fact that she pretty much forced it out of Anne. And so Anne feels betrayed, and I think that she has every right to feel betrayed. And also, she also got Louise into it. And what I find funny about the whole situation that happened at Michelle's house, and the whole Angela calling her out thing, was that Julia initiated that whole thing. If you guys remember, Julia started the conversation about Gilda being a gold digger, and and that eventually led for Louise to, say what she said about Gilda. But I'm not letting Louise off the hook because Louise did not have to say that about um, Gilda, especially considering that Louise and Gilda are neighbors and close friends. I was very disappointed in Louise for saying whatever she said that we could not hear. So Julia meets up with her makeup artist to gossip, and I'm not surprised. Once again, Julia is doing something related to her looks, and I actually think that Julia may not just be vain, but she may also be a narcissist. Everything revolves around her. Everything is because of her. When the attention isn't on Julia, Julia is mad. She wants attention to be on her at all times. She's constantly raving about her looks and and lack thereof. And she's obviously insecure about getting old. And there are a lot of women Julia's age like Julia. But Julia's talking to her makeup artist, and we soon figure out that Julia that has a big problem with Louise. She feels like Louise is a two-faced bitch. And I'm like, no, Julia. Now, Louise may be two-faced for talking about Gilda behind her back, but if we can call Louise two-faced, we can very well call you two-faced as well, Julia, because you went behind Anne's back. Aren't you Anne's really good friend? Didn't you pretty much introduce Anne to the group? But you went up behind Anne's back and you told Gilda what Anne said about calling her a gold digger, even though you practically forced Anne to say it, and you said it as well. Julia is, she's a drama queen. She likes the drama, and I'm not really liking Julia. So Angela, the other one I don't really like, is shopping for furniture, and she decides to. Well, actually, let's go back because first she meets with her PA, and her relationship with her PA reminds me of Lydia and Joanna. It's kind of like that same dynamic, but I don't feel like Angela is, as demeaning to her PA as Lydia is demeaning to Joanna. Um, she's correcting her. She's trying to, teach her, words and stuff. And apparently Angela's busy with all her fashion designing and all the other things that she does. She's a tourist ambassador for New Zealand, yada, 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 yada. Let's go to when she meets up with Michelle to design her home. I was very surprised that she would, want Michelle's help because Michelle's style is very much modern, very much funky and unique. And Angela is very much contemporary, old school, feel. So they have very different styles. My theory on this is that I feel like Angela is afraid of Michelle because Angela lashes out at Michelle. I'm sorry, Angela lashes out at Gilda a lot, but to be honest, it'll be more warranted and more justified for her to lash out at Michelle because Michelle was actually quite rude to Angela at some points in time, like later on. So when Angela and Michelle talk, Angela is kind of trying to put everything off on Louise, like Louise started everything. But I'm like Angela, Louise may have told the rumor that she heard, but you were the one who brought it to the table, and you were the one who said it to Gilda. So you're more at fault than Louise, even though Louise does have some blame in this. So we go back to Anne, and Anne is getting ready for her party. The lights go out. She's cold. Things just start going really bad, at the beginning of her party. But everything gets situated. Everything, gets smoothed over, and the people start to arrive. And Angela actually doesn't have a fur coat on, but all her guests have fur coats, and I guess it's really cold out that day. And it's so weird seeing all these people in fur coats and all these animals like raccoons and foxes and minks. But this is for an animal charity. This is like the most bizarre thing I've ever seen as far as charities and people coming in and doing things that don't support the humane cause for the animals. And also, I'm really weirded out by the fact that these women keep on saying pussy because in America we don't say pussy, we just say cat. I mean, I know that some people say pussy cat, but for the most part we all say cat. But in New Zealand, it seems like everyone says pussy, but in America we say pussy, for something else that you might or may not know what I'm referring to. Wink, wink. So everybody gets there and Julia comes and everyone's there. Gilda's there. Gilda is annoyed with Louise and she doesn't even speak to Angela, but she lets Louise know right away that she's annoyed with her. And Louise pretty much tells Gilda that, I wasn't trying to repeat the rumor, but I was just, saying, blank, whatever the rumor is, then it's not that. I already know about the rumor. And I'm with Gilda. I feel like Louise is just making it an excuse. And the excuse that she's making is a poor excuse because, like Gilda said, if you would never have said anything, Louise, then you wouldn't be in it in the first place. Why tell a rumor to a person that you know that's not like Gilda? I feel like Louise was trying to start mess. She was pretty much playing into what Angela and Julia wanted her to do, which is sad because she is Gilda's friend. Um, and this is where I start to get confused. Do I want to go there yet, or do I want to go to when Julia and Michelle go up and they're kind of making fun of Anne? And this is another thing that I'm talking about Julia being two-faced. Julia is supposed to be Anne's really good friend, but yet she's taken this woman who Anne does not really know in Anne's home in a room that Anne did not show Michelle, but she's showing and they're laughing at her old pictures and her decorations. I won't say that they were making fun of Anne, but they were kind of poking at Anne and at the expense of Anne's age. They were like, there's cassette players, and how old are these pictures? They look like they're from the 1920s and 1940s, and my grandmother, she just turned 80, and blah, 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 blah. Just making fun of Anne. And I blame Julia because Julia is Anne's friend, but she is showing people who don't really know Anne rooms that Anne did not tell them to look at. So I'm like, this is another example of Julia being a two-faced bitch. Um, they go back out, and this is where the most of the drama comes from. Michelle is poking fun at Angela. Even though I don't like Angela, I will say that not the rumors, but the insults that Michelle was saying to Angela were pretty bitchy. Like she was telling her to suck in your gut and your gut is hanging out and there's nothing wrong with being plus size. And I'm like, yeah, there's nothing wrong with being plus size, but at the same time, why are you saying that to Angela? Because you know that Angela is sensitive about her weight. She doesn't like when people bring it up. So why bring it up, Michelle? I feel like Michelle was being a bit of a bitch to Angela. Still love you, Michelle. Still hate you, Angela. But Michelle, stop being a bitch. You don't need to be a bitch. Let Angela be the bitch, the episode or whatever. So they get into it, and somehow, Angela makes a statement about Michelle not being from New Zealand, like somehow all women from New Zealand are full figured. And I'm like, that's not true. There are some people on this cast who are not the same size as you, Angela. So that whole New Zealand excuse was bullshit. And then Gilda's like, what defines a New Zealander? And from there, Angela just lashes out at Gilda. She's saying, what's wrong with you? You're a runt. You're the runt of the litter, and I'm the big runt of the litter. And Angela actually calls Gilda a cunt in the confessional. Even though they bleeped that word out, I read her lips, and she called her a cunt. And I was like, that's very classy, Angela. And it's clear to me that Angela just hates Gilda, and I don't know why. She's just, every excuse Angela gets, she lashes out at Gilda. So they separate, and then they do the auction or whatever. And first, Michelle's Michelle models something that gets auctioned off, and then they do something with Angela, and Angela giving out a style, something dealing with her and styling people and giving people makeovers or whatever. And the tackiest thing happened. How about this, you guys? Angela has her PA bid for her. Now, at first, I thought that her PA was generally bidding for her. And I was like, that is so stupid. Why would you bid for your boss? Your boss is paying you, and you're basically going to give the money that she pays you back to her, so you're working for free. But we soon found out that Angela pretty much made the PA bid for her in case no one bid. And I'm like, that was so tacky. That is just so Angela. Angela is a tacky woman. She has no tact at all, just tacky. Um, but she gets in a bidding war with Julia. And I'm like, we can already see that Julia likes Angela and they're going to form a close bond because Angela is pretty much like the only person that Julia hasn't really talked shit about or said something negative about. So that's my review for the Real Housewives of Auckland season 3, episode 3. This was a good show. I really enjoyed it. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys for the next review.